Music can act the same way as a stimulant medication can act for folks with ADHD. And when I first heard about this, I actually cried. But before we get started on that, hi, my name is Bridget. I'm a licensed clinical social worker with a specialization in ADHD and my own lived experience. I make videos on this channel and I will continue to make them about once a week, focusing on all areas of ADHD. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to join my group, my squad, my family, my ADHD buddies. I don't know, workshopping that. But anyways, if you like this, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you. Music and ADHD. It's something that feels like so obvious, yet the science behind it still made me like pitter patter. It's so interesting. Most of this information is taken directly from a talk that I listened to from Dr. David Nowell. So his information, as well as my other sources, are going to be linked down below. I may be a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. So take whatever works for you and leave what doesn't. And if there's anything that I'm saying that you find is actually incorrect, please feel free to correct me down below. If you have ADHD or suspected ADHD, I imagine that you are very aware that the way that we are motivated to get things done is different than neurotypical folks, or folks that do not have an executive dysfunction disorder. Typically, somebody may not like to do a chore or to do essays or homework or whatever it may be, but they still do it because they have to get it done. And they may even feel this sense of like accomplishment or gratification from doing that task. It is not that way for most of us that have ADHD. People with ADHD are motivated by different things. Our brains are lit up by things that fire us up, that make us feel joyful, that excites us, that challenges us. People with ADHD are motivated by dopamine because our brains are usually lacking it. One way to get a dopamine kick in your brain is through problem solving, challenges. The really interesting thing here is that music, in a strange way, is like a problem that needs to be solved. If you think about it, music is filled with these like ebbs and flows, with tension building and then resolving, and then building and then resolving. So that does something to light up our brain, and it gets us basically revved up and ready to focus. It harnesses that attention that is so lackluster most of the time, or just hard to rein in, and it reins it in. So basically, music is consistent pattern of problem solving. So it lights it up, it's exciting enough to focus us, but it's not too distracting that it takes away our focus if you use the right music. A study found that listening to and practicing music activates both hemispheres in sensory, motor, cognitive, language, and emotional areas. Music can then be used as a tool to dopamine batch, which is one of my favorite things to do. I do it so often throughout the day to get things done. And basically what dopamine batching is, it is taking something that you love to do, that lights you up, that excites you, and pairing it with those mundane tasks that you really need to get done, but you can't find the motivation for. This could be listening to a podcast while cooking, listening to music while doing dishes, watching a YouTube video while you brush your teeth and get ready for bed at night. Dopamine batching. The way that people would end up using music for dopamine batching is usually listening to music while you're trying to study or do paperwork or get things done. But here's the interesting thing. Not all music is the same when it comes to dopamine batching for folks with ADHD. Some music is fantastic. It has a right balance of the pattern of ebbing and flowing, tension and release. Not all music does this well. I know for me, anything with lyrics is an automatic out. My brain latches onto words and it's like, what are you saying? What's going on? That sounds more interesting than I'm trying to do, and I'll just listen to that. And the same goes for certain types of music, like if you don't like it. Like if you don't like screamo metal, you're not going to want to listen to screamo metal while you're trying to get your essay done, okay? It's not going to work for you. Although if you need to stay up late while driving, maybe. So basically, to sum all of that up, certain types of musics, if you listen to it while you're trying to get something done, can have a profound effect on performance and concentration, and this has been replicated in studies. But not all music has the same effect. Studies have found that music that is kind of predictable, somewhat exciting but not too exciting, like lo-fi, electronic, and classical music, has a positive effect on someone with ADHD's ability to focus on what they're doing. However, Certain other situations like binaural sounds, I don't know if I'm saying that right, binaural sounds, or silence has a negative effect. It can even cause a person with ADHD to feel anger and frustration. There is a specific type of music that is weirdly good at helping folks with ADHD concentrate and stay motivated to be productive. Maybe you can guess what it is if you think about it. It has to kind of check all the boxes, right? It has to be engaging enough to fire up your brain, but not too engaging that there's like lyrics or things going on that distracts you. It has to keep you concentrated and motivated for a long time. It has to have a consistent amount of patterns of that ebbing and flowing. Can you think of anything that kind of checks those boxes? If you said video game soundtracks, you would be correct. I mean, if you think about it, video games, they're expertly designed to have music in the background that matches the vibe and keeps you engaged and keeps you going. And just another reason why video games are both very good and very bad for folks with ADHD. Video game soundtracks are great for studying, and I personally have always used video game soundtracks to study, so it's really just kind of confirmation for why I do what I do, and some of you may relate. So next time you need to get homework done, maybe consider putting on some headphones and getting some lo-fi beats or some video game soundtracks up and ready to go to get you focusing. If you need any suggestions, I'm going to link some of my favorite playlists down below for studying. It is a mix of like Game Chops, which is a fantastic artist that takes all of these video game soundtracks that we know and love, like Zelda and Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, but basically it takes these soundtracks and adds lo-fi beats to them. Ooh, they're so good. So I'll link that down below. The Witcher 3 soundtrack, another banger. Artists like Dance with the Dead and Prodigy and just electronic music. I will link some playlists down below that I love. But if you're interested in leaving some comments about music that works really well for you to study or things that don't work well for you, please feel free to leave a comment. I mean, we can just gather all of the best music and then hopefully I can just put all of that into a big playlist and we will have the ultimate ADHD music playlist. If you got any value from this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm so happy you're here and thank you. Have a great day.